Oh, it's an icy one out there. Where's a fire when you need one? Hello everybody, welcome to Good Gaming Network. I'm Zoidberg and you are watching the re-review. I've always had a fondness for Amiga games, and this extends right back to before my days writing reviews on magazines such as GamesX and Amiga Action. I reviewed a lot of games during this time, and in this series I'm going to be looking at each one in turn and seeing whether or not my opinion has changed. Do I agree with my teenage self, or do I think he was well off the mark? Keep watching and we'll find out. In this episode I'm going to be taking a look at my original review for Fire and Ice, The Daring Adventures of Cool Coyote, released in 1992 from developer Graftgold and publisher Renegade Software. After quitting his job writing business software to go on and make games instead, Steve Turner founded Graftgold in 1983, and he brought along his friend Andrew Braybrook for the ride. All of their early work in the 8-bit era was published by Hewson Consultants, and it included many memorable games, including Gribbly's Day Out, Paradroid, Quasitron and Uridium. Following an acrimonious split with Hewson, their arrival on the Amiga was announced with the superb arcade conversion of Rainbow Islands published by Ocean Software. This game topped the first ever Top 100 Games of All Time published by Amiga Power, and I even placed it at number 8 on my Top 100 Games for the A500 Mini that I published earlier this year. Capitalising on this success, Graftgold continued to make great Amiga games across many different genres, including real-time strategy game Realms, the long-awaited sequel Paradroid 90, and another excellent arcade conversion in the shape of Ivan Ironman Stewart's Super Off-Road. Their next game was Fire and Ice, which was released just as many publishers and developers were vying to bring Amiga owners their own rival to Sonic the Hedgehog. It was programmed by Andrew Braybrook, with excellent graphics from Phil Williams and John Lilly, who had also contributed graphics to Bitmap Brothers' Gods. Music was by Jason Page, who would go on to provide tunes for Sensible World of Soccer, Uridium 2 and Rough and Tumble. It was a sales success and led to an enhanced CD32 version released in 1994. For Christmas 1992, the team even put together a special one-level demo, where Cool Coyote dressed in a Santa suit and all the enemies wore party hats. This was given away with Amiga Power magazine. You can find a video of this demo on our channel very soon. For now though, let's take a look at my original review. My review appeared in Amiga Action issue 33 from June 1992, an issue that would forever go down in infamy. This was the issue to feature Core Design's Jaguar XJ220 on the cover, with an exclusive review where it received a staggering 98%, a score that I strongly disagree with to this day. I awarded Fire and Ice 90% for its visuals and 88% for its sound, with an overall score of 91%. This earned it an Action Accolade Award. I loved how smooth and playable it was, and singled out the quality of the animation, particularly on the central character himself. This was one of the last issues of Amiga Action to feature the Super Leagues, which allowed readers to see, at a glance, how similar games compared to each other. I deemed it worthy of 4th place on the platform game list, behind Gods, Parasol Stars and Rainbow Islands. The difficulty curve is perfectly balanced, and you'll find yourself advancing at a reasonable enough pace to get your money's worth out of it. Now it's time to replay the game. Is it still a platforming classic, or does it stumble at the first jump? Let's find out.
Okay, so this is Fire and Ice. What you wouldn't know, unless you actually purchased this game and had the manual, is that you can actually press the F keys to access the options menu. So hitting F3 and you will see F1 will change between joystick and joypad and keyboard, small maps on and off with F2. Game mode is what we're interested in here, because game mode, you will see I can cycle between full competition is the full game, first world trainer, second world trainer, third world trainer and fourth world trainer essentially allow you to play worlds 1 to 4 with an additional number of lives to learn the levels. I do like the way that the levels start with this on-screen map showing you the entirety of the level. It's a neat little way of showing players where you can and can't go. And in some cases it'll show off secret areas that you didn't know were accessible previously. So the first thing that strikes you is just how good the animation is of the central character. And the basic objective is to make your way through the level, killing all the enemies, and collecting the 6 pieces of the key that's required to exit the level. But the way you freeze and then destroy the enemies is, in many ways, quite reminiscent of how you catch enemies in bubbles in Bubble Wobble. If you guide those little puppies to the exit, you do get an extra life, which is worth knowing because you will need lots of lives. If you shoot these clouds until they drop snowflakes, snowflakes can be used for a kind of smart bomb. Of course, being a platform game from the 90s, you are rewarded for exploring. As I just collected another extra life by reaching this area. The way these little puppies will bark as they follow you is incredibly cute. In addition to granting you extra lives at the exit, the puppies can actually also fire ice pellets themselves. The background music is pleasant and unobtrusive, but never at any point does it get as hummable as the music on the title screen, which is a little bit disappointing. I find it advisable to take your time through the levels because finding the 6 pieces of the key is usually reliant on killing enemies early on in the level. There's nothing more annoying than reaching the end of the level and finding that you've not got all 6 pieces. When you first start playing this game, it can feel quite punishingly hard in places. But it's one of those games where the enemies will always appear in the exact same places. So it's actually possible to learn. And so we're on to the countryside castle stage, which apparently, according to the game's instruction manual, is actually Scotland. Now, usually sections in games that require precise platform jumping is usually when the any weaknesses in the platforming side of the game will come to be shown. But in the case of Fire and Ice, I think this actually goes some way to show how good the platforming side of the game actually is. Oh, come on! Game over. So this is the third world, which I'm playing with the trainer mode enabled. So this is all underwater. Now I don't seem to have unlocked very many pieces of the key here. See, that's only the 3rd piece, and I am actually approaching the exit now. So this is where I now have to annoyingly retrace my steps. I think one of the ways that this game could be improved if they made it today is by having little arrows over the heads of the 6 enemies that you need to kill on a level. Then finally we have a look at the rainforest section, where, as you can see, Cool Coyote is starting to wear more weather appropriate clothing. Okay, so time to sum up my feelings about the game as we move on to the actual re-review itself.
Few games make as good of a first impression as Fire and Ice. Seeing Cool Coyote on the title screen bashing out the music on a piano sets the mood perfectly for what's to come. It's a slick, playable and challenging platform game with some wonderfully colourful graphics. The original A500 version is actually superior to the CD32 version in my opinion. Getting through all 7 of the game's worlds, I can remember taking a lot of patience and dedication back in the day, and the option to practice any of the first 4 worlds is a very welcome one. It really is a shame that Graftgold didn't decide to give us a second game. It does fall victim to a few flaws of 90s game design, like occasionally not being able to see where the next platform is before a jump. Similarly, reaching the end of a level and finding out that you've missed one of the pieces of the key can be incredibly frustrating when you have to backtrack to try and find them. Something as simple as an arrow over the head of the enemies that were carrying them would have solved this no problem. It was also an incredibly bold move to have the slippy slidey ice world, the bane of many a 16-bit platformer, as the game's opening section, although this one isn't as bad as some, and it can be forgiven slightly because it's in keeping with the game's story and theme. When it comes to great platform games, the Amiga isn't exactly in short supply, and this is how I'd rank them. As you can see, Fire and Ice still sits in some pretty decent company, and it certainly aged a lot better than either Zool or Superfrog. I placed it at number 27 on my top 100. By today's standards, it's an easy 8 out of 10. That's it for this episode of the Re-Review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any memories of playing Fire and Ice, please feel free to share them in the comments and tell me whether or not you agree or disagree with my assessment. If this is your first episode of the Re-Review and you enjoyed it, then you can find all previous episodes in a playlist on the channel. Show your support and appreciation for what we do by giving us a like and subscribe, and why not hit that notification bell while you're at it. The next episode will be an extra special one for Christmas, where I'll be covering not one but 3 games in a single video. If you want an idea of what I'm going to be playing, then stay to the end for a little musical tease. Feel free to find me over on Twitter at UKGenZoidberg, where I share all my opinions about gaming. Until next time, happy retro gaming, thanks for watching, see you soon.